Okay, so I'll stop blabbering and I'll just get to it. So video number 2, this is my age gap story with a lot of twists and turns and unfortunately a tragic ending. Anyhow, so as our relationship deepened, again, my boyfriend was 10 years younger than me. He lived across the border from me. We got along really well, but of course every relationship has its challenges, right? So I'm gonna say one of the challenges in our relationship, and you might think, okay, because he was younger, I'm really not sure about that. But I think there was a lot of insecurity, and a lot of people would think that it would be me that has the insecurity. So to some extent I did. But I think he was way more insecure than I was. And I say that because looking back now on the people he surrounded himself with that just were not, I don't even understand the relationships there, to be honest with you. But he was a very talented musician. He was a writer. I'm an artist. So we had that in common. I'm just not a naive person. I think because of my own background and how I was raised, I just wasn't raised to be a naive person. So anyhow, our challenges were mostly because of one person in particular, which he would consider his best friend, his sister to him, so not biological sister, but someone he felt was a sister. Again, as I said in the first video, everyone just didn't get that relationship, We all felt that she wanted more from him, although she was in a relationship herself. And it just never dawned on him. He would constantly go to her for advice. She claimed to be a psychic. And again, by the end of these videos, you're going to understand how that all ties into how things ended for him, okay? So this individual, when I met her a couple of times, she was with her significant other, and I was introduced to her, and right away I could just sense that she didn't want me around. And later I found out that this happened with other girlfriends of his, right? She would always stick her nose in things that weren't her business. And basically, excuse me, basically, she would, because he had such a strong belief, not just in psychics, but in her abilities, he would often listen to her. Now, that's not what happened with us, per se. What happened with us ended after I ended the relationship with him, and then what she was telling him why I ended it. So back to her, she would often insert herself into his life in so many different ways. And I think a lot of people told him that, she isn't who you think she is. But again, things just, I wish I had the foresight at that time to understand and maybe prevent what happened. But of course, that's nonsense, because just can't do that and go back. I guess I didn't take it as seriously. We did have some conflict because there was, I'm going to give you an example. It's, instead of me blabbering on, because I'm sure you want to get to the more interesting parts of the story. One great example would be that he was very helpful to me all the time, and I have a child with special needs, and he had gone to his psychic friend and wanted to ask about my child and what I could do, what would become of him, could he get better, that sort of thing. So he came over and he was telling me how he had consulted his psychic friend and whatnot. And before he could finish, I'm going to admit, I was livid. I was so angry because she doesn't know my child. She doesn't know the struggles we've been through. And I just thought, how dare you even bring this up to her? She doesn't like me. She doesn't know my child. And she's just trying to insert herself where she doesn't belong. This also happened when one of my siblings passed away. She tried to make it seem like she knew something of, what's happening there in the afterlife. And just these really crazy things all the time. So he again was 100% on board, thinking that this person that he trusted, he really, really trusted her. And although ultimately we make our own decisions in this life, when you trust someone and you feel that they have these abilities and they're so capable of understanding what's going to happen in the future and that sort of thing, many times this encourages us to go in a different direction than what we would have. So I'm going to say that. So she injected herself into my business with my son and also with one of my siblings that passed away. And this whole time, I believe she was doing this for my relationship as well, but I really wasn't paying attention because we did have a great relationship. I wasn't concerned about her. I didn't have to see her more than a few times throughout the whole relationship. Not a problem at all. So again, relationship starts off great. You do expect to have some challenges, but for me, the challenges in this relationship were very, very strange to me. We didn't really argue much except when it came to his, I'm not sure how to put it, but he just believed every word she said. And he also had other friends that were psychic. And again, there are people that are psychic, I believe so, right? But they're few and far between if we're going to be realistic about it. So she was just kind of playing him. That's sort of what I understood, especially when I found out what happened to him later when I was out of the picture. And I really have a lot of regrets of ending the relationship, because when I look back, I feel like I don't know, I feel because I left the relationship and I didn't maybe try harder, although I thought we might get back together at some point, I wish I could have known what was going on at the time, because I was probably the only one that was grounding him. He was a very intelligent person, extremely talented, very attractive, and I think a lot of the people he surrounded himself with they just let him think that he was all that. And I think I was the only person grounding him for the 4 years that we were together. So anyhow, so this is video number 2. I don't want to make them long because it's, I think in different little segments is better. So the first video was just an introduction to my age gap relationship. This second video is about some of the challenges. I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 more videos. And the next one is going to delve more into sort of some of the things that led to his death at an early age. And it's kind of mind-boggling because as I'm sitting here talking about it, it's still unbelievable that this happened to me. It's almost like a little movie of some sort, younger boyfriend, psychic best friend who wants him, and just the way things happen when you think you can control things in your life, and you can maybe to a certain point, but what you don't know is happening in the background, then you just don't know what's happening in the background. So again, this is the second video. I'm going to leave it here, and I'll see you in video number 3.